the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at two. Just
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, welcome to the Curtain Call podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're on Spotify, we appreciate you listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. It really, really helps us out a lot. I'm Irish Neep, as always. I'm joined by JR, and today we're going to go over our WWE Day 1 review, results, all of it. Wild, crazy show, and let's not waste any time. JR, why don't you start us off and let's get rocking.
Man, what a show it was. WWE Day 1, January 1st, 2022. We start off the year with a bang, with a bunch of controversies, live from a sold-out State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. And let me tell you, this crowd was hyped for this whole show. The first match, we won't talk about the kickoff show real quick. Kickoff show was the kickoff show. The Usos, your SmackDown Tag Team Champions versus the New Day. A very, very good match. Very good match. A lot of false finishes. The Usos come away with the championship. How did you feel about that match?
Yeah, man, it was good. Like we said in the predictions, these guys are always going to put on a good match. There's no question about it. The end of the match, like kind of the highest points, and towards the end, it was looking like a PWG style match, man. You're right. False finishes here and there, people hitting finishers and kicking out. Like it was a good match, man. And like I said, we predicted this. We said, this match is going to be good. Like there's no doubt every match they have together is good. Usos did the thing, man. I'm glad I picked them. I'm probably always going to pick them. But I'm glad they got the win. And it was a solid match like we thought it was going to be.
Absolutely. I don't need to add anything else to it, man. It was a great match. You said everything. You called it. I called it. It was a great match. The crowd was into it like crazy. Yeah. I knew it was going to be a good night because of the news that we got beforehand. I thought, would the crowd still be into it? You and I both thought it'll be a 3.5, 4 point as far as the show rating goes. We'll get our ratings later on. But this showed me that the crowd was definitely still into it. The next match, we had Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. McIntyre goes over with the win. It was actually a really good match. I was surprised that it wasn't a squash match like I thought it was going to be. And then we get the backstage vignette of McIntyre getting jumped, getting put down. PWI reports that McIntyre is dealing with some injuries. He's going to take some time off. That's why they did that storyline. How'd you feel about the storyline? How'd you feel about the match?
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep it real. Last week, we said this is not much to talk about. Like I think we even gave it like a sentence that we even talked about because we were like, this is a no question Drew's winning. We knew that was going to happen, but we didn't know that the match was going to have the legs it did and the time that they gave it. This was the one match that shocked me. Now, looking back at our predictions video, because we kind of shoved this one off to the side, and it was a lot better match than I think people expected it to be, especially us. It was a good match. I enjoyed the match. And as far as the storyline goes, when he comes back, that's going to be a big pop. I don't know how much time he's taken off, whether it's just a few weeks or a month. I mean, who knows? But man, he's so over, and people are going to pop when he finally comes back. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Drew.
Before we get into the next match, man, how good is Madcap Moss? From the last time that he wrestled till now, man, he really did very well. I'm telling you, like you said, we didn't give this match too much of a thought. You actually said this is one of those matches that I'm going to, answer with just one sentence. You said it, and I said, yeah. We went on to the next one. We really thought it was one of those, like you say, certified bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was an actually really good match. My hat's off to Madcap Moss, man. No pun intended, but good match. Next match, we had RK Bro. This is one of those matches that they threw on that, it wasn't on the list when we were doing it because it wasn't announced at first. RK Bro versus the Street Profits. RK Bro wins. Very good match. Almost felt, I don't know about you, you tell me, but it almost felt like if we were getting kind of like a heel turn from the Street Profits. They got a few boos. It was a nice, solid match. God, Randy Orton is amazing, man. Randy Orton is one of those wrestlers that he only does moves that make sense.
Right.
Good match. Good. The crowd is super, super behind RK Bro. It's going to be interesting when we know that they're going to get broken up soon. It's going to be interesting, but it was a good match. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah, man. Randy Orton, he's, I mean, just incredible, man. He just keeps reinventing himself. He keeps, he's got to be the GOAT. The GOAT conversation is all opinionated, right? It varies from person to person. Nobody's ever going to decide on one person. But you got to admit, Randy Orton has to be in your top 10, top 5, somewhere. He's got to be. You can't, all the gimmicks he's had, all the tag teams he's been a part of, factions, all the rest, great stories, great feuds. He's up there for sure. But yeah, a good match. The only thing I didn't like about it was the whole Migos thing. Yeah. And I got to that because I texted you and I said, hey, I think I have an idea of this premium live event more than it's being called a premium live event now, not a pay-per-view going forward. I have a theory about that. Maybe I'll get into that before the main event. But I didn't like the Migos stuff. And then when everybody was in the ring and they're kind of hugging and dabbing each other, I didn't really care for all that. I know they were in it, the ATL where Migos are from. So it was like a thing, but good match, great match. I'm interested to see where they go with the Street Profits for sure. But the ending where they're all just kind of in there, I didn't really care for that, but solid match overall.
Yeah, I started laughing like crazy when they showed the Migos in backstage. I was like, they're coming to the ring. They're going to come to the ring. And when they came out to the ring and Randy Orton's dabbing them up, you can tell Randy was like, why?
Yeah.
Why? But he played off good. He played a good baby face. I thought it was a really good, solid match. Like you said, Randy Orton, you got to have him in your top 10. If we can't agree on anything about the Mount Rushmore or the GOAT status, there's one thing that we can agree on is that Randy Orton definitely needs to be in the top 10. Point blank. The next match was the match that I was looking forward to, Edge versus The Miz. Now, I always call out the matches. I let you go and I let you talk about it, what you thought, but I would really like to go first this time. Because I was really looking forward to this match, Jordan. You know that. I thought that The Miz was going to come out on top, and this would set up for the intergender match later on down the line. Now, it was a solid match. At times, it kind of got a little slow, and then we'll pick up steam. They told a good story, so to a point. When Beth Phoenix came out, what I liked about the Beth Phoenix thing was that they didn't play her music right away. It made it almost feel genuine, like she was just in the backstage with her husband like she would normally be, but she just got fed up and came out, and she's standing there huffing and puffing. The music hits. It made it feel like it was more authentic than it was written in the script. But I don't think she should have came out, man. In my opinion, I think Maurice was doing a great job on the outside of the ring. She kept getting involved. I think she could have got involved again had The Miz go over. And this sets up later on where finally after them, he keeps doing that on Raws and stuff. Finally, Beth comes out and says, you know what, we're going to even this up. And then you have the Edge go over. But the problem is by Edge going over, to me, where do you go from here? Because typically when the babyface goes over on the heel right away, there isn't much legs to stand on. Now, they could completely do a storyline where what I'm saying, it won't even matter. But I just really wish that The Miz would have gone over. It would have made the storyline better. I'm not saying I don't like Edge. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying storyline-wise, I think The Miz should have gone over. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, so I've been saying for a while that Beth Phoenix is in my top 5 female wrestlers of all time. I am a massive fan of Beth Phoenix. But you're right. She shouldn't. This is not the show to start that. She shouldn't have come out. Like you said, the match was okay. I don't think the match was what we thought it was going to be, to be honest. It was a solid match, not a bad match by any means. But yeah, I'm with you. But I did like that she came out and then the music started. You're right. It seemed more real and genuine and not like, hey, have my music queued up, I'm walking out now. It was more of like she just walked out there and then it goes. So I really liked that little touch. But yeah, this was not the show for it. And yeah, man, it's if The Miz would have won, especially cheating, Edge could have come back with the, hey, you cheated. I'm going to bring my wife. We'll keep this, so we're all even. But The Miz going over, you're right. There's nothing, or Edge going over, there's nothing there. Like, what do you say? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was kind of, I was really looking forward to this match. It was a decent match. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't what I expected it. There was times in the match that I was like, wow, they're still wrestling. Wow, okay. And then it picked up at the end. Of course, the crowd was definitely into it. Beth got a huge pop, but it wasn't what I expected. This is a match you were looking forward to. We had your Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. When Liv came out, there was a pop. Yeah. I was like, I right away told my son, Jordan might be right. She might be getting over on this one. Becky wins. The finish was kind of wonky. I don't know if Becky was supposed to have her foot on the ropes and she couldn't reach. Then Liv Morgan was complaining about her eye poke or whatever. And then when they showed the replay, there was no eye poke unless Becky Lynch's hair got in her eye or something.
Right.
How do you feel? Or do you want to save your comment till you see what happens on Raw tonight, what they do with Liv Morgan? Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to wait it out until tonight just so I can at least have one episode, one setup of something. But I will say the match was sloppy. Just let's keep it real. The match was sloppy, at least the second half. The beginning, when Liv was still getting that pop and it was exciting, here's the title match, like that was okay. But once it got about a few minutes in, do you know how long this match ran for?
I think it was like 13 minutes. 12 or 13 minutes. It was a pretty lengthy match.
Yeah. But, I mean, it only took about 5 minutes to get kind of stale and boring. And then the ending was really bad. Really, really bad. I was sitting there. I'm like, she's supposed to hit the rope. And then commentary made a comment that she tried to get the rope. But so I don't know what they're going to do with that. But, yeah, I was really looking forward to this one. And it didn't pan out how I predicted it to. But at the same time, last week I did say, if I'm going to have a prediction that's wrong, it's going to be this one because I'd much rather have a lengthy booking to WrestleMania and she gets to win at Mania. But I don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe when we come back next week or later in the week after this Monday Night Raw, we can touch up on that a little bit. But I don't know where they go from here or how they book it.
You know, Jordan, when I saw the match, I've been saying for a while that I like the chase more than the defending of the title. It's the chase is always, it gets you to that point where you can really get behind a wrestler.
Yeah.
Here's the issue. My opinion, the reason why the match wasn't as great, number one, they went too long with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's she's getting better as a wrestler.
Yeah.
But when you're in the ring with someone like a Becky Lynch, a Sasha Banks, a Bayley, a Charlotte, even an Asuka and a Lacey Evans, these women can go. They can go. So you can see that they had everything set up on how the match was going to start, and then Becky had to carry the match.
Yeah.
And when you do that with a wrestler like Liv Morgan, you can't expect a lot from her. When she lost, I told myself, okay, if they're going to go the Liv Morgan route and eventually give her the title, they got to build her up big. My personal opinion, she should come out on Raw tonight and get beat and have her they go to interview her and she grabs her bags and just leaves. Let her get off TV for a couple weeks and let her start coming back into the fold when it gets closer to Rumble, if you are going to put the belt on her, and let her have a different attitude, a different Liv, that it's not the crying or I'm so happy to be here or I was so close, let me cry in the middle of the ring. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I gotta wait to see what they do with Liv. But as of right now, if we're just gonna take it, for the picture that it is, I don't see them doing anything else with Liv Morgan. I think she was a filler for Becky Lynch until something else happens. Maybe Charlotte at WrestleMania, but that's
Yeah, I would say maybe give Liv a little edge. Maybe give her a not so much emotional, but I'm hungry. I need this. Maybe give her a little edge. You're right, not all crying and emotional all the time. Give her some steam. She wants this. You know what I mean? Maybe that'll help. But yeah, who knows? Like I said, after tonight, maybe we'll have a little better idea of where they're going. But
so here we are. It's the main event. Now, before we get into the main event, you did say that you want to get into the premium live event theory.
Yeah.
Tell me what you thought about it, man.
So we're used to celebrities showing up. That's nothing new. I mean, ever since the Attitude Era and before, with like Mr. T and stuff, there's always been celebrities that have shown up here and there. Not every pay-per-view, but, you know, maybe your big four celebrities will show up or whatever. So do you think that these premium live events will be, before it was a pay-per-view, and they would say where they're at, hey, live from Chicago or whatever, but it wouldn't be this thing. They would just kind of mention where they're at. Do you think with this premium live event, it's going to include the city more? Like, they're going to say where they're from. They'll bring a celebrity from that city to show up on the show. Like, it'll be this big inclusion of the city rather than just, hey, we're from Chicago, but here's the show. Like, do you think they're going to include, it's going to be more catered towards the live crowd that shows up because, you know, they're all from Chicago or wherever they're at? You think it's more like that, where they're just going to keep bringing in celebrity guests? Maybe we get like some entrance performance by somebody, you know what I mean? Like just something like that. You think they're going more towards that, or am I just looking too far into it?
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think it's only fitting that if you're going to be from a city, usually when it's a Raw, wherever they're at, and if there's a football town, they'll have their football players in the front row. I think we'll probably see them more interactive with them. We saw with the Migos on Saturday that they were at ringside in a roped off area. I think we could see more of that. I don't want to see it. I would prefer camera show the football players or whatever right there, or a backstage vignette on, oh, I'm so happy to, you know, that they're in our town or whatever, this and that. I think that's pretty cool. But the premium live event, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you saw what WWE put out there, but they put out their schedule for their premium live events. Obviously, they're not calling it pay-per-views anymore because, let's be realistic, they're not pay-per-views anymore. I mean, people really don't order you got to get on Peacock to watch it. That being said, I don't have a problem with them calling a premiere live event, PLE. What I saw on the rundown that they gave for their pay-per-views, I don't know if you noticed, they got SummerSlam booked on a Saturday again. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be on a Sunday. They got, you know, if I'm not mistaken, the Rumble is going to be on a Saturday, and they're doing a big event. From what the rumors are, it looks like for WrestleMania, they're going to have an event on a Friday. They got the pay-per-view on Saturday. They got the premiere live event on Saturday, on Sunday, Monday on Raw, and then they're doing a live show for that city on Tuesday. So it looks like they're trying to make it more of, like you said, a whole city thing. This is for the city. This is what we're doing. And we all know that when WWE comes to town, it brings a lot of revenue. That's for sure. So we'll see what happens. I kind of like the Saturday pay-per-view, if I could be honest with you. No, I actually like it. And it makes you wonder if they're going to do a WrestleMania on a Saturday or Royal Rumble on a Saturday, or, you know, now you're going to see how maybe UFC says, let's not throw an event that Saturday because we're not going to compete with WWE. Yeah. And what it does also is AEW as well. AEW says, okay, let's rethink our pay-per-views and make sure we don't book on the same day they're booking, because they got the heads up by being on a network.
Yeah. I'm looking. I think it should be fun. And I before we go into the main event, I just want to say that intro video by the Migos was sweet. That like intro montage where I think it was Offset from the Migos was just talking while there's hyping up Brock and all this stuff. That little intro package they had to start the show with him, I thought that was cool though. So I got to give him a little credit on that. It was pretty cool.
You could tell they were kind of nervous. They kept doing these things.
Yeah.
And I said, I told my son, that must be some really good lotion. He said, nah, Dad, that's bad lotion if he has to keep rubbing his hands. So anyway, so the main event, here we go. This is where our video or predictions went really off their hinges.
Yeah.
Let's give a backstory before we talk about the main event. So it's Saturday evening. I come home from work. I'm sitting on my recliner. My granddaughter's playing with my phone. We're taking pictures. And I keep getting alerts from Twitter. And I keep swiping away because my granddaughter, who is my world, is on my phone, on my lap. So what happened? So all of a sudden, you come up, you call me, and I answer the phone. And you said, bro, did you see what happened with Roman? Right when you said that, I said jokingly, what, does he have COVID? You said, yes, he's out.
Yeah.
And I said, whoa. And then your next statement is Brock Lesnar is being added in the Fatal 4-Way to make it a Fatal 5. And I told you immediately, we have a new champion named Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
In event, you have Big E, your champion, versus Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and Brock Lesnar. Jordan, the floor is yours. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah. So, okay, every time Brock Lesnar's entered into an event or a match or whatever, you're always like, wow, this is wild. Like, maybe he might win this. Why in the world do I not think, oh, 100% he's winning this? Because when does Brock Lesnar ever lose? When that first came up, I'm like, wow, this is a nice, like, change. I wonder who's going to win. Idiot of me was like, bro, Brock Lesnar wins everything. He's going to win. And I posted my live reaction on my TikTok, and I'm going to throw the video up on screen now so you can see my live reaction to Brock winning the title. I should know by now that he's going to win, and I was still shocked that he won because I was just like, I had in the back of my mind, I was thinking Roman Reigns, Universal title. Okay, he's not wrestling now. Brock's going to win his match against that, so I'm like, okay, they can't put it on him because what are they going to do going forward? So I think I was doubting him winning because I had the whole Roman thing still, like I was still thinking about it, and then he won, and I thought it was a good match. It was a good match. There was a few. I guess you could argue that it was a spot fest at one point. Bobby spearing him through the barricade, then them throwing them through the table, the double DDT on the stairs. A lot of that happened really quick. But I thought it was a fun main event, and I don't know if you saw any Twitter videos afterwards where when Brock was walking back up the ramp. Brock is having the time of his life in this new gimmick, if that's what you even want to call it. He's basically just Brock now. I mean, I think that's how he is in his outside life, wearing the overalls and just kind of having fun. I don't know, but he's having the time of his life with this new character story that they've given him. And, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when Roman comes back. And, Brock's not on this show anymore. He's, I don't know what they're going to do with that. We'll see, but it was interesting, man. It really was interesting.
Now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Now it's my turn, brother. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to someone, but I can't say their name because I don't want people to find them on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and then they get, dinged for recording live at a show. But they tagged me, and I looked at the video that they were at, and they were kind of high up in the rafters of the arena. That arena was packed.
Yeah.
And every time the fans were screaming and hollering, which they were throughout the whole show, I kept going back to the video. They were telling the fans on the hard camera side, which is what you see, the camera shot that you see, for them to sit down, and everybody else was standing up like crazy. We can say that Atlanta is a wrestling town because of the NWA back in the day. They're a smart wrestling town. They were popping crazy for this.
Yeah.
When Brock Lesnar came out, first of all, WWE kind of showed their hand a little bit by not having the champion come out last. Big E came out second to last, and Lesnar came out. When Lesnar came out, there was not one person in that arena that was not on their feet. They were going nuts. Number one. Number two, it was an 8-minute match. 8 minutes, Jordan.
Yeah.
And yes, was it a spot fest? Absolutely. But the spots meant things. They just didn't put Kevin Owens through the barricade or Seth Rollins through the barricade. It was the two biggest men going through the barricade. Yeah. It was told correctly. To me, it was done correctly. You can see Seth and Kevin trying to get rid of everybody so it could just be down to them. We all got a hint of what we wanted to see. Brock Lesnar took one hell of a spear from Bobby Lashley, and then the stare down at the end. From the beginning, I've always said that I felt that Big E was a transitional champion. He didn't do much for me. I'm not going to talk about how I said the same thing about Adam Page, but he didn't do much for me. Anybody else could have got pinned. Kevin could have got pinned. Seth could have got pinned. Bobby could have got pinned. But he pinned the champion fair and square with his finisher in the ring.
Yeah.
And when the 1, 2, 3 came down, that place erupted.
Yeah, it did.
Now, it throws a wrench into the plans because, to me, the greatest storyline right now in wrestling is the whole Paul Heyman thing.
Right.
Then I started thinking what way to add to that storyline by listening to what Brock said in the beginning. Brock, before he went out, said, I would like to thank my advocate, Paul Heyman, for getting me into this.
Yes.
Now they can go with the storyline of, you see, Paul's still on Brock's side. He got him a title shot. He became champion. It also makes people think, so was Brock supposed to win against Roman? They can go on for days here. What I absolutely love was Brock holding up the title and him eyeing down Bobby Lashley as Bobby looked back at him while he was walking up the ramp. Yeah. I would love to see Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, night 1, main event at WrestleMania. That comes in. Now we have to think about, so then what happens with Roman? Who takes that second night main event for Roman? Will it be The Rock? I don't know if The Rock's coming back this year, but could it be The Rock? Or are they going to unify the titles? But if they unify the titles, Jordan, then what does the winner of the Royal Rumble get?
Yeah. Okay. Let me dive in all.
You tell me, what are your thoughts, man?
So, what have I been saying since basically episode 1 of doing this podcast? There is nothing more I want to see than Bobby and Brock. I have been asking for this match for over a decade now. I've wanted to see this match for so long. And I have my live reaction to that stare down, and I was losing my mind.
Him and Lashley.
I was like, this has got to be happening. This has to happen. I'm 100% with you.
Time out. When you sent me that video, because we were interacting back and forth, was your wife and kids already asleep?
Yeah, I probably woke him up.
Yeah, because I can tell the way you were talking and looking. I said, yeah, his wife is definitely asleep.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it together, but man, I've wanted this match for so long, and I really hope, like I said, we're doing this before Monday. Like, nothing has happened yet, so who knows? But God, I hope they do this match because I wanted to see it for so long. And yeah, I don't know about the whole Roman thing. It's going to be interesting. If it's not The Rock, and I know if you watch the show, you know what I'm about to say next. Number 30, the Ring General. Do it. Book it, Vince. Come on. I think there's slowly becoming a fan base, a push that people want to see Walter against Roman. I've been seeing it a lot more lately. And man, if it's not The Rock, man, they got to do it. It would be such a good match. Just Roman taking chops would be brutal. And I don't know, man. This is probably fantasy booking at this point, but night 1, Bobby Brock. Night 2, Ring General, Walter versus Roman. That's 2 good main events right there.
Hey, listen, so check this out, man. You tell me. Every time we think Vince is losing it, he does something like this. Because let me tell you, the ratings for Raw just jumped. Yeah. You're not going to get 1.5 tonight. I guarantee you're going to get a 2 or close to it. Why? Because of Brock Lesnar being the champion. You're going to get a spike in the SmackDown rating as well. Why? Because people are going to want to know what's going to happen on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And that's not even to mention the crazy card we have on NXT on tomorrow night. I mean, we knew this was going to happen because of the road to WrestleMania. We're on that road. This is so smart, man. This is crazy how it is, because we weren't giving Vince McMahon a lot of credit a couple weeks back, saying that he lost touch. And then he pulls one of these gems out of his hat. And my goodness, man, just look at you. They always say, they do what's best for business and they listen to the crowd. And we always say, you're not listening to the crowd. Did you listen to the crowd? They completely didn't care that Big E.
Right.
No. They did it. It's going to be very, very interesting where they go now with Big E. It's going to be super interesting. And you know what? I'm all for it, man.
Yeah.
This is the Brock Lesnar that we saw 3 years ago that we all wanted him to just go away because he was a champion that never showed up 60, 70 days. And then we see him with the belt. This is the Brock Lesnar that looks like like you said, he's having fun. The videos of him walking up the ramp, taking pictures with people, smiling. This is a different Brock, man. This isn't the Brock Lesnar that is in WWE waiting for Dana White to give him a call. He was really serious when he said a couple months ago that he wants to wrestle more. He's definitely doing that, man. It was good. It was good.
I don't know, before we wrap it up, I don't know if you're familiar with the term lose face, win face, but when Big E came out, he had lose face all over his face. When I saw him come out and kind of stand at the ramp, walked out, I'm like, oh no. You could just tell. Sometimes you could just tell when people are going to take the pin or lose. And he had that. There was just something, his mannerisms weren't as energetic as he normally is. Like you could just tell, oh no, he's not coming out of this. And that's kind of my first, like, maybe I was like, I don't know, but I still didn't think they were going to give it to Brock. I just thought something would happen. But yeah, man, if it's him and Bobby, I can't wait. Can't wait.
I knew from the moment they announced it. I told my sons, I said, Brock is winning this title. And they were like, nah, it ain't gonna be Brock. Big E will probably retain it, or it'll be Kevin. And going into it, I thought it would be Kevin. But I just knew it, man. And as weird as it sounded to me, it just made sense. It as much as I want the storyline with Paul Heyman to continue and things like that, and they shouldn't have done this, no, whatever. Putting the title on Brock just made sense. And it's given us what we think might happen, what we all want, which is Bobby and Brock.
Yeah, no matter what you think of Brock, people are kind of in the middle. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people love him, but the man brings in ratings, and Paul Heyman's been saying that for years. The biggest box office draw. That's not a story. That's not written on paper. That's fact. Like, he brings in way more viewers. He brings in higher ratings, blah, blah, blah. There's a reason that they bring him in when they can, and there's a reason he's Brock Lesnar. Like, he really does move the needle every time he comes back. Every time he's in the picture, more people pay attention. That's all true. That's not part of his story or whatever. That's just fact. The ratings are better. The viewership's up. Like, he's Brock Lesnar because he can do all that every single time.
Yeah, WWE actually put the writings on the wall for us by number one, Big E coming out before Brock coming out last. And number two, Brock told us in the back. He said, I'm walking out of here as your WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
Yeah.
When he said that, I had a big grin on my face, and I said, man, this is going to be a good match. To me, it was a good match, man. I really enjoyed it. Overall, I gave the pay-per-view a 4.2 maybe. I went back and saw it. The crowd was just super into it, man. The crowd was super into it. And I don't want to hear the people saying, they never sell out crowds. Behind the cameras, there's no audience there. Man, I took the screenshots of that arena. That arena was packed. That arena was, every bit of it was packed. It was an overall good show. I think Atlanta did a great job showing up. They were super into it. WWE put on a heck of a pay-per-view starting off the year of 2022. This start of 2022 is going to be monstrous, man. This road to WrestleMania is going to be super monstrous. I'm excited for WrestleMania. I'm excited for the Rumble. I'm excited for SummerSlam on a Saturday night. This is going to be really good. And as a fan of wrestling, of both WWE and AEW, WWE just did one thing. They let Impact, they let NWA, they let MLW, they let AEW, they let New Japan know, remember, we're still the king of this mountain. And in a switch of in a turn on of a light switch, we can do this. It's like LeBron playing basketball. LeBron goes through the motions, but when he turns on that switch, it's the reason why he's probably one of the greatest of all time. And WWE just showed why they are the kings of this jungle. Solid pay-per-view. What was your rating?
Yeah, definitely a 4, easily a 4. And we said that they would have dropped the ball if it wouldn't have been at least a 3.5, pushing a 4-star. And I thought they delivered. I really thought they delivered a lot of quality matches. Other than the ending of the Becky match, they were all, solid endings, solid matches. Like you said, the main event got 8 minutes, but they got a lot done in 8 minutes. And yeah, it should be interesting to see where they go with the 2 top belts. With Becky and her, all of that, where the tag division kind of goes from here. 2022, if done right and if done, in the correct motions and stuff, it could be a good year for WWE as long as they just keep up with what we want, but also stuff that just makes sense at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that we're going to start doing here on this show is that every time we give our review, every time we give our predictions, we're going to give our predictions and then talk about what we feel might be the match of the night. But we're doing the reaction now, so now we're going to get into what we felt like was the match of the night. Jordan, day 1, pay-per-view, what do you think was the match of the night?
This one is actually tough for me because at first thought I was Usos New Day. But, man, 8 minutes, they got a lot done in 8 minutes, man. And a lot of good stuff came from it. The Bobby, Brock tease, the stuff with Kevin and Seth, sorry. I think the main event might have been the match of the night, man. Like I said, a lot was done in that 8 minutes and, good spots, good storytelling with pretty much everyone involved. I'm going main event. I'm going main event match of the night. Probably about a 4 if I'm rating just that match.
So Usos and New Day threw on a heck of a performance. I love the false finishes. It was a solid 15 minutes. Very good match, man. Go ahead.
I think we can't name that match of the night because we expected it. The main event was unexpected. We didn't know Brock was going to be in there. We didn't know all this cool stuff was going to happen. The Usos and New Day, we knew was going to be a killer match. So I think that's why it's got to be the main event because it kind of shocked us.
Yeah. So they threw on a heck of a performance. I really enjoyed it. Usos come on top. It was a great hard-hitting match. They started off the night super hot, but how can you go against the main event? The main event was 8 minutes of, to me, a masterpiece. From before the bell even started, Seth throwing blows. It was a very fast-paced, hard-hitting match, but they told a great story. They told multiple stories. If you go back and watch it, you can see stories being told, setting up future matches. You really can. One thing I enjoyed that no one's really talking about is when they were interviewing Kevin Owens in the back, Kevin Owens said, did you see what he did to my best friend, to my soulmate, Sami Zayn? I like that because I hope we get a Kevin and a Sami soon. I gave the match a 4. I thought it was a solid match. To me, it definitely was the match of the night.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it wasn't expected. We weren't expecting that. It was a major title changing hands, the only title that changed hands. And all around, the public and the arena, definitely, they were all for it. So, to me, it was a great match. It was definitely the main event on day 1 was the match of the night.
Yep, 1,000%. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening, watching along with us. If you want your merchandise, make sure you comment down below. We can shoot you the details on that. We appreciate all the support we've gotten on that so far. But yeah, like I said, thank you for listening on Spotify. If you're on YouTube, please consider dropping a subscribe, liking the video. It helps us out a lot. JR, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Happy New Year, baby. You know how we do it.
Yep, Too Sweet, everybody. And JR, take it out.
We always kick out at 2.
Peace.